Hey everyone, Brayden here coming to you with an epic video. First off, we just got some breaking news as the long talked about Disney Genie service has officially debuted at the Walt Disney World Resort. After lots of speculation and controversy surrounding this service, it's here. It's being used in the park by guests as we speak. So we're going to take a look at that, some of the hacks that guests have already figured out with the new system, how to take advantage of it. And then in the second half of the video, we're going to get into my analysis, which isn't just about the Disney Genie. It's also about just the absolute state of the Walt Disney Company itself right now. And someone's got to say something because things just feel like they are going off the rails. So let's get into all of it. If you aren't aware of what the new Disney Genie service is, it's a replacement to the old free FastPass Plus system we had prior to last year at Walt Disney World, where you would reserve times at 3 attractions utilizing the faster queue, skipping the standby wait. Now using the faster line, rebranded to Lightning Lane, entails a multi-tiered paid structure where to skip the line, you'll be paying as much as $15 per person per ride on top of $100 admission just to access the park. So yesterday, very early, we got the long hyped update to the Disney World app, which now includes a service called Disney Genie right there on the homepage. Once you click it, you can see the free features that come with the Disney Genie. There's a tip board that's basically a way to quickly see at a glance all the wait times and the dining availability at any given park, as well as see the return windows for the Genie Plus service, as well as current pricing for the individual pay per ride attraction, individual Lightning Lane skip the line feature, which we'll get into in a minute here. The other big new feature in the app that is free is a recommendation algorithm where you provide the Genie with some of your interests, say live entertainment, and it'll suggest things for you to do based around that. Now, it probably wouldn't surprise you to find out that in the free version of the Disney Genie service, the #1 recommendation the Genie has for you is to make that $15 in-app purchase to upgrade to Genie Plus for the day. For $15 per person per day, you gain access to those Lightning Lane return times you see on the tip board, where under the standby wait, there's an option to book a return time where you get to utilize the faster Lightning Lane at any given attraction where you used to have FastPass. The catch with the flat fee $15 Genie Plus is you don't get access to the Lightning Lane at the biggest attractions that have the longest waits, the ones that you would want to skip the line at. Those are a per ride fee. For example, Frozen Ever After in Epcot, if you want to skip the line for that 3-minute boat ride, you have to spend $9 per person per ride to enter the Lightning Lane at that attraction. So for a family of 4, the average demo, that'll be $36 plus sales tax. So $40 for your family to ride one ride one time. It's almost half the price of a park ticket just to do a single ride of Frozen Ever After. The other catch with the flat fee Genie Plus service is the fact that you can't just pay Disney $15 for the day and now you just get to go start using the Lightning Lanes and skipping a bunch of lines. What you have to do is reserve windows to skip lines at the attractions while you're at the park the day of. And the stipulation here, Disney says, is you can only reserve one at a time. So starting at 7 a.m. the day of, you can make your first Genie Plus attraction reservation. And the problem you'll run into, guests are already running into this, is the fact that a lot of the good attractions that you don't have to pay extra for, they are part of Genie Plus, the flat fee service. A lot of those have a lot of demand naturally, so you're likely to be booking a window hours out from whatever time it currently is when you're making that reservation in the park. You're in the park on your phone, getting a reservation, a Genie Plus reservation, this thing you paid for, and Haunted Mansion, let's say it's 9 a.m. in the Magic Kingdom. Haunted Mansion, the closest return time might be 11:30 a.m. That's when you're allowed to go over to that attraction. So until 11:30 a.m., you just got to do regular stuff. You can't utilize this feature that you paid for. So what are all these Genie Plus guests going to be doing in the meantime while they're waiting for one of their reservations? They're going to be spending money on food and merchandise or utilizing the regular standby line at attractions that they paid to skip. Now, as we discovered yesterday, there is a little hack with Genie Plus that could make it actually worth that $15. You could make that $15 work for you, I would say. Even though Disney says that you can only make one Genie Plus reservation at a time, currently, at least for the start of it here, what you actually have is a 2-hour reservation cooldown window. So for example, let's say it's 7 a.m., you book an 11 a.m. Lightning Lane reservation for the Haunted Mansion. At 9 a.m., you can book another reservation. Then at 11 a.m., you can book another reservation. So basically, using this trick, you can essentially mimic the old FastPass system and end up giving yourself a day stacked up with an itinerary of 3 to 5 attraction skips. They'll probably be later in the day, but you can do that. You can even book attractions with overlapping return time windows windows, meaning that you'll have skip the line access at multiple rides at once. The caveat is they can't be the exact same return time window. They have to be slightly different windows, but currently they can't overlap and the system will not stop you. So that's one way. If you decide to spend $15 per person per day to access Genie Plus, you can get some value out of it. And I have to say, I am a little concerned Disney's going to do away with this loophole, because Disney isn't actually trying to bring you value here. That is not the purpose of Disney Genie. Disney's well aware most who buy Genie Plus will make one reservation, wait till they've used it, start booking the next one, because Disney tells you that's the way the system works. As far as the rollout of the system yesterday, the first thing everyone noticed is how awful the new service is insofar as the technology itself is concerned. Despite CEO Bob Chapek hyping up the development of this service for years and years, with its debut yesterday, despite its debut being almost 2 years delayed, what was delivered to guests was obviously an incomplete application. When I opened up the app, the pages introducing me to the new Disney Genie service were covered by the next button. And then the thing that everyone was laughing about online, at the bottom of the tip board on every page is a legal disclaimer, which is actually lorem ipsum filler text. If you don't know what that is, it's text using graphic design and app development so you can visualize the text blocks, sort of the layout, when you're putting together these user interfaces before you actually populate them with copy. Disney delivered an app update with lorem ipsum text in it at the bottom of every page of this new section of this thing that they've been hyping up for a year. A company as big as Disney. Pretty unbelievable, I have to say. Additionally, the app was also glitching out, the stuff that we always see with Disney applications. A lot of people were saying they were getting blank screens. They weren't able to see wait times. There was a situation where park schedules were unavailable or not populating or something like that. Disney removed the My Plan section from the sidebar. Guests would always use to keep track of their park reservations. There's still a way to get to it, but now it's no longer there. There's also advertised features that are missing from Disney Genie. For example, you can't actually pick a time window to ride a ride with Genie Plus, which is odd because Disney advertised it sort of being like mobile orders, if you've ever done that, where you say, I want to do a mobile order, and you can select a time to enter. Right now, all that's available to you when you get Genie Plus is the next time window, the next available window at any given attraction. Also, another advertised feature, the forecasted wait features, which should be helpful to all guests. They don't even have to pay for Genie Plus to take advantage of the forecasted waits. What we actually got here with the forecasted waits, you can see this does not offer much in the way of useful information. So that's a look at what we got yesterday with the Disney Genie update to the My Disney Experience app. As far as how guests have been using the service in the real world so far, here you can see a recording of the app that I took at 8 a.m. the morning it began. And you can see the soonest available time for the individual pay per ride skip the line feature at Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which costs $15 per ride, was already late in the day. During the 9 a.m. hour, Rise of the Resistance was booked up, meaning every allocation Disney gave for guests paying $15 per was filled up at the attraction, which either indicates there's a lot of demand for the individual lightning lanes at that attraction, or that Disney hasn't allocated many spots for that attraction for this service. Perhaps Disney wasn't sure what the demand would be like, or perhaps they were hoping to make this service look successful and in demand on the first day. I have to say, $15 for quick access to an attraction, the duration of Rise of the Resistance, I can definitely see the value there, especially if you're going from far away. This is your one time to be there. You have to hit up this attraction. I can totally understand why people would spend that money. People pay more than that for preferred parking, so I can totally understand this one booking up. Paying individually for rides like Frozen just seems absolutely bonkers to me, but that's what we got here, and I've made my opinion known on Disney Genie. I think this service sets a terrible precedent. Now Disney is incentivized to make standby lines as slow as possible. Lines at attractions like Rise, if they move super slow, people will gladly pay that $15 per person per ride to ride it a single time. You could argue directly monetizing attractions like this could give Disney more reason to add new attractions in the future, but we aren't seeing any signs of that yet. And even if that were the case, it's now the case that to ride Disney's newest attractions, you're basically gonna have to pay or wait in a super slow standby line that's made slower by people in this new service cutting the line. The precedent being set here is just absolutely terrible in my opinion. Not to mention the fact that the service is so confusing, it's even hard for me to explain to you guys. Imagine being the average guest that doesn't care, it's just there for fun, opens up the app and sees walls and walls of text. Their eyes will glaze over. I know mine did, opening the app and seeing all this. And people are gonna see the lightning lanes in the park, and they're gonna see Disney Genie being advertised in the app, and they're gonna say, you know what, we already spent so much to get here. We're not gonna have a substandard experience. Let's just spend the $15 per person for the whole group, skip some lines, and then what they're going to do is go into that tip board and they're going to realize a lot of the big attractions they have to pay individually for these outrageous rates per ride. And then they're going to notice that the rides that they can access, a lot of the popular ones that you want to ride, you can't get them until hours and hours from now. You can't book a time frame till a ways out, maybe 6 hours from now. So in the meantime, they're going to have to use the standby lines at rides or just spend money on food and merchandise, which is the entire reason that FastPass and this existed in the first place, right? The leadership who signed off on this, CEO Bob Chapek, Parks Chairman Josh D'Amaro, Walt Disney World President Jeff Volley, it's clear they think we're idiots, right? They're fleecing people in broad daylight here, and half the fans online are defending it. I've been saying stuff sort of mean about the service online, and people are rationalizing it to the ends of the earth. They're comparing it to other services that other companies offer, like, well, the Universal's Express Pass. First of all, I don't think Walt was comparing his theme park to amusement parks, trashy amusement parks, saying, well, at least our thing is better than that. No. Walt was aspirational. He was comparing his park to the ideal, to his idea of what the experience should be, not pointing to his lesser competitors and saying, good enough, this is fine, like lots of the shills do online, like CEO Bob Chapek himself has done, especially in that video where he was in Galaxy's Edge and he was talking about stuff and he was saying, oh, if we weren't building these lands based on IP, our competitors would be. He's obviously talking about Universal, Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Usually winners aren't so concerned about what everyone else is doing and trying to ape their product and how they do things, especially when it's a lesser product, in my opinion. I really feel like Disney's going a few rungs down and Universal's going a few rungs up. That's sort of what it feels like. And I can't emphasize enough, FastPass at Walt Disney World was free not that long ago. It's $15 a day now for the same service, and it doesn't even include the biggest rides. That's no small change and something that we should definitely not be happy about or quickly willing to accept and just move on. And once you pay for an individual lightning lane, by the way, you can't even cancel it. Rise of the Resistance went down during times that guests paid $15 to access the ride yesterday, and cast members at the attraction said that there are no refunds. And in the terms and conditions for Disney Genie, Disney admits that the listed standby wait times that are being posted on the tip board are wildly inaccurate and should not be used to make purchase decisions. But Disney knows most guests aren't going to read all this legalese. It feels like they designed this app specifically to mislead people. They put the inflated standby waits they themselves call inaccurate directly above the skip the line button, encouraging guests to buy these new services. It's highway robbery, and the leadership doing something this openly exhibits the fact that they think their guests are such morons that they can get away with a gambit that's this obvious, this in your face. It's like a blinking sign. And how can you blame the leadership for thinking that they could get away with something like this? Why do you think that they've been pushing things in the direction they have been at all? In recent times, Disney's realized that no matter what they ask of their guests, no matter how they push them around, guests seem to be okay with it. So Disney says, okay, we'll just keep pushing and pushing until we meet some sort of resistance, until guests withhold their wallets. And so far, there's no indication that's happening at a scale that matters. It's incredible what people will put up with. Do you remember when first it was you have to pay extra to park your car at Disney's resort hotels you already spent thousands to be at? Like, how is that not included with the room, right? It just sounds absolutely crazy. Now, years later, here we have PAID FastPass. And honestly, after bashing this service for a bit here, I think I might surprise you in saying I think Disney Genie has a very good shot at being successful. The disappointing thing about Disney News right now isn't just the lack of investment, the lack of news, the leadership doing exactly the sort of stuff we expect them to do. To me, the most bothersome part is that they're making these bad changes at a much faster rate than in the past, and despite that, there doesn't seem to be much of a tangible reaction from guests. The sycophants that treat this brand like a religion, they'll lower and lower their expectations more and more, leave better and better feedback on the surveys and at guest relations. Bob Chapek has said in past earnings calls that they're seeing better feedback than ever at the parks. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he's lying. I don't think he is, because when you make claims like that on earnings calls, you have to have some sort of figures to back it up, right? I really think what it is a lot of the high-minded, aspirational Walt thinking that sets Disney apart. For us who see something exceptional in the Disney parks that you can't find elsewhere, that sort of stuff isn't a make or break for most guests. Most guests are happy with or unaware that they're spending thousands more for less and less. Disney can do nothing for the 50th anniversary, get rid of Illuminations and Happily Ever After, no nighttime parade, no daytime parade, no big ride updates for the 50th anniversary, PAID FastPass, IKEA rooms, park reservations are required to even go, higher costs on everything across the board, giant exposed ride buildings, extremely slow construction on the new attractions, no trams in the parking lot. You have to walk all the way across the parking lot because Disney knows that they can save money there and guests will suck it up. They will just deal with it. This is not stuff that reflects Walt Disney's company. You could argue it hasn't been Walt's company for decades, but the rate of the decline is increasing and the response from guests us is not proportional. We complain online because it's easy, it's sort of fun to do sometimes, but then we all still go. So why should Disney have any incentive to change anything, right? Because people will say, oh, this is bad, Disney Genie's bad, and then they'll spend money on it anyways. So sorry if this video is a little bit of a downer, but it's just the nature of the news. There's no way that I can cover the company in a truthful way right now and it not be a little depressing. You should hear the stuff our sources from inside the company have been saying lately. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's a crazy time at Disney, and the best we can do is just point out these shortcomings, these things that are going south, try to affect change for the better, and the best way to do that is just to be willing to withhold our wallets. But in all likelihood, not enough people are willing to do that, and there's a seemingly endless supply of folks willing to go no matter what. And then it becomes a waiting game of waiting for something to happen and shift the paradigm. Universal's got their big new park getting underway, under construction in Orlando. Maybe that will help get Disney to turn the spigot back on, bringing investment back to the parks. But from what I've been hearing, that point is still likely years away when we're going to see a lot of that investment return the levels that we used to have pre-2020. And in the interim, the parks are going to continue heading the direction they are under the current leadership. We're entering a brave new Disney World, and I say give Disney negative feedback. If you're not happy with something they're doing, let them know that you are not happy with it, because otherwise they're going to say, oh, everyone loves the new stuff, and they're going to keep doing more of it, and people are going to keep giving them money. So that is something that you can do, I think, to help out. And a lot of people inside the company, they've suggested that I suggest you guys do this, because it is a way that you actually can affect change inside the company. You can't let things like the Genie become the status quo. People are like, oh, well, I already spent so much of my vacation, I have to use Genie. That sort of thought process is what is enabling it and allowing it to happen. If people just did not use this service, no one was using it, they would get rid of it, right? They would change it, they would make it better. Maybe all those attractions that you'd pay individually for would become part of the regular Genie Plus service. They'd just be the highest in demand Genie Plus attractions, sort of like before with FastPass. Tier 1 attractions like Flight of Passage, they were always the first to go, right? But they were free. If you knew what you were doing, you could secure that reservation for Flight of Passage. So I think it'd be much more fair game if they did it that way. It's just so important that you do not lower your expectations, what you expect out of the Disney experience you have had in the past. It's Disney's job to meet that expectation. You are the customer. Never forget that. Once you accept Genie, then it will just be another thing. And I don't even want to theorize what the next thing will be. But we know the next thing's coming. We know the train is not going to stop until it faces some sort of resistance, where the guests say, you know what? I'm going to hold off on planning another trip for a little while here. Unless and until that happens, these kind of changes are going to continue happening, and we'll continue seeing things like this come to the park. If you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe with those notifications on. While we wait to see what Disney does next, I'm continuing to work on some more exciting long-term projects that I think you guys are really going to like. And of course, I'll let you know the second we get any big news. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. From the Mickey Mouse Magic Studio, this is Brayden. Have a magical day.